Welcome to Unfuck Your Legal Marketing, where we get brutally honest about marketing, business, and the messy middle of making it all work. I'm Gary Johnson, marketing coach, strategist, and professional bullshit detector for attorneys and professional advisors who are tired of doing what everyone else does. And if you listen to this and think, oh my God, I need help with this, my next group coaching cohort opens May 14th. Check the show notes for the details. So around here, we skip the fluff. Real conversations, real insights, and yeah, probably a few F-bombs along the way. So let's get into this. So, mindset. What does mindset have to do with legal marketing? Well, everyone talks about getting better clients, better cases, better work, better relationships. But most people are only focused on tactics like more networking, more content, better follow-up. And they are missing the thing that actually driving all of it, which is your mindset. Because the clients that you attract usually reflect how you're thinking, how you're showing up, and what you believe about your own self-worth. And today, we're getting into how mindset plays a direct role in how you attract and how you repel clients. I'm joined by my friend and lunatic, Chris King, who works with individuals and teams on performance mindset and what he calls rewiring the system so that you can actually create outcomes that feel out of reach right now. Chris is the founder of Status Flow and known as the witch doctor because his shit gets results. Welcome, Chris, to Unfuck Your Legal Marketing. I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you so much for having me, Gary. It's always fun to talk to you.
Always. So let's get straight into this. When people say they want better clients, what do you think they're actually struggling with underneath all of that?
Well, you attract what you are, all right? So I'll try not to get too nerdy on this, but it is a function of energy, vibration, frequency. I can talk law of attraction or whatever, but you are going to draw in people that are similar to you in terms of your energy. And so the mindset thing has an effect on if you are surly and grumpy and whatever, you're probably going to draw that kind of attention. You're going to draw that kind of client. And so I think the first thing to consider is what is in my field now, me as a human, as a professional, that is bringing this toward me.
Yeah, I love that. And, you bring up law of attraction. A lot of attorneys, because I've heard them say this, that's just a bunch of woo-woo shit. Like, fuck, like, come on, like, are we going to do some psychedelics now and be like, meditate all day long? Like, what do you say to those individuals, especially the lawyers that are out there that are like cynical to mindset just as a whole, that they're like, you just got to grind it out and you just got to fucking go after it?
Okay, so there's my answer and then there's the answer. My answer is I don't work with that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, if I sit down, with an attorney and they say, well, prove this to me. I'm like, no, I'm really not gonna, I got other shit to do with my life. If they say, tell me more, that's a different energy, right? And so, and look, I come by this rightly, okay? My old man, he never went to college. He almost didn't graduate high school. He's an electromagnetic compatibility engineer, all right? And so I grew up talking, we didn't talk baseball, we talked quantum mechanics and string theory and particle physics. And so when somebody says this is a bunch of woo-woo stuff, I submit to them simply particle physics and quantum science, right? It's like, look, the law of attraction is a secondary law of the law of vibration. And so everything is energy. Energy vibrates in frequencies. It's all about bandwidths. And so they can say all day that it's woo-woo hippie shit. It's not. It's particle physics and science.
Yeah. So it's based on science, right?
Everything,
and
yeah.
Like you had said. How did your father ever get into that?
Dad's an interesting individual. I mean, I'd say he's on the spectrum, but he's way over there, right? So, but he's got some brain damage from a motorcycle accident, and that, knocked a screw loose. He was 15, 16 years old. But he's always been, he was a prodigy pianist, a child prodigy at the piano. And so he's an interesting character. He's wired differently. So when I say I come by it rightly, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So what's something people believe about themselves or their business that you find is costing them lots of opportunities?
Everything. Like everything. So there's something called the Bannister Principle, which basically proves that you will create the reality of your belief, your understanding, your expectation. So this is why I tell clients, do not, under any circumstances for our first meeting, bring me your KPIs, your market trends, and your sales history, because it's going to start to retard what I think I can do. And this is why I don't work in like a linear fashion. It's why I don't work at the strategic or the tactical very much, because it just moves too slow. If you're working at the physical end of the energetic spectrum, it moves too slow. So market trends, sales history, that's that kind of thing. So I start with, what if everything you think is wrong? Like, what if everything that you think you can't do, you actually can? And this is why we get exponential gains as opposed to the linear ones.
Yeah. And I love that. I mean, you were actually very instrumental in me starting up my own group coaching program, because I don't know if you remember this, when I was a guest on your podcast, which also is called Mindfuck. So you stole that from me. Oh, wait, I started mine after yours. But one of the things that you had said was, why are you holding back on this? Why are you not starting it? Why are you not putting the energy towards it? Do you not believe it? Do you not believe that you can be? And we went into it. It was just such a great coaching moment for me to hear from you of like all this baggage that you've got that's in front of you is holding you back. You got to release that, and you have to burn the bridges or burn the boats so that you can't go back, and really, I think that is so important when it comes to marketing and business development, because a lot of times people's limiting beliefs really hinder them from moving things forward.
Yeah.
I'll give you something really simple. Posting on freaking social media, posting on LinkedIn. My God, I can't do that because, and then they start going down that fucking rabbit hole, right? What will people think? Will I look stupid? Is this good enough? All that bullshit. Do you find that when you're working with your clients and going, staying focused on the marketing aspect, do you find that they need to release something like I did, where it was like, I need to release this from me so that I can move this group coaching program forward? Do you find that a lot with your clients? Is like, they've got to fucking get over some of the shit that's in their head.
Yeah, and that's not what the problem is. That's what's causing the problem. The problem is a lack of coherence. Okay. When you can do a lot of the right things in terms of marketing and have it not work and then be befuddled as to why is it not working. And I will say that there's probably a piece that individual or that team is missing, and that's that coherence with what they think, what they feel, what they believe. You have to believe in what you're doing in order for it to be coherent, where the energy, the thoughts, the feelings, the actions, that everything is lined up. It's like picking a lock in a door. Like marketing success, business success, whatever. Success, however you define it, business, personal, otherwise, is like picking the lock on the door. What you want is on the other side of that door. Inside the lock, there are what we call tumblers. And those tumblers are like these little pistons that go up and down. And those tumblers need to be aligned very specifically and perfectly in order for the lock to move and the door to be opened. And that's what the key does with all the bumps and ridges on it. It aligns those tumblers in a very specific way. So everything that you're doing, from your internal belief system, right, which has been running since you were 6 years old, and you're 90+% unconscious of how it works, but that system that creates the thoughts, that generate the feelings, that drive your actions, that produce your results, and the energy around all of that, it all needs to be calibrated perfectly, like those tumblers in the door, in order for it to unlock.
What would you say to somebody who is struggling with, let's just go back to the first example. They're struggling to have that coherence. They're struggling with it coming together, right? Is there something that they can do to kind of get it so that it is in coherence with their thoughts, their feelings, their beliefs, so that they can move this forward successfully?
Yeah, I would ask the question, when you're engaged in this activity, what is your energy? Like, what are you feeling? It's not so much what we say or do, it's the energy that it rides on. Like even in communication, you know what? 7% of communication is verbal. 7, which means 93% of what's going on in that conversation, in the universe of that conversation, is unspoken. And so it's a question of, do you really believe in what you're doing? Can you feel it? Is it, and here's what I like to say, and this is going to get, I'm going to get a little weird here. Is what you're doing true? Now, I'm not talking about true or false. I'm talking about aligned. Is it true? If I take my mountain bike into the bike shop and I need them to true the wheel, it means to align it, to straighten it. Is it correct? Not true or false. And so, and the thing about the truth, it is a frequency. It's like a key on the piano. The C key is C. Now, you can like it or not like it, but the C is C. It's just the truth. It's that frequency. If it's not in tune, it's not C. And that's the difference between the truth and like my truth or your truth. My truth and your truth are all about preferences and opinions. So that's the I like it or I don't like it, right? But C is C. And so, and that's something that I can't tell somebody this is true. They need to feel that in their human system. That's kind of why I've been called the human tuning fork, is like, okay, where's this person out of tune with what's going on in their universe?
I love it. This is why I called him the fucking witch doctor. So if somebody doesn't understand their truth, doesn't know what their alignment is, how can they figure that out?
Great question. I get this a lot. Typically, when somebody is going after really big fish, it requires some pretty big moves and changes. And so a lot of times what they're going to do is the ego is very rarely ready for such a thing, even if it wants it, right? And even if it's good, it's not ready. And so what the ego does, it creates all kinds of tools and strategies to lock the human out of conscious awareness. And so we say things like, I don't know. It's like, well, what is true here? I don't know. What do you want to do about your business? I was working with a client. She'd have built up her business over 20 years. And she's like, do I keep growing and scaling, or do I punch the ejection button? Like, I don't know. I'm like, yes, you do. I know you know. You absolutely know. So, and this happens in relationships. Do I need to leave my husband or stay? You fucking know. You just don't want to admit it to yourself because the ego's not ready. Because if I engage in the knowing, here's the misunderstanding. If I agree that I know this, then I have to do something about it. Here's the beauty. No, you don't. Right?
No.
So you don't. It's like, just because if I know that I need to quit my soul-sucking job, but then all of the stuff about, well, how am I going to make money and where am I going to go?
Yes.
It's overwhelming. The ego can't handle it. So it shuts it down, goes, no, you don't know. I go, oh, okay, I don't know. So here's what you do. Here's the magic trick. I'm going to give you a tool. I'm all about tools, and all my tools are science-backed. So here's a good one. You bind yourself from being allowed to do anything with the truth. I mean, just energetically, psychologically, like right now, if you said something, I said, okay, Gary, I am binding you right now. For 90 days, you are not allowed to do anything with, like, you have, anything that's in motion can stay in motion, but you don't get to sell your house. You don't get to quit your job. You don't get to do what, like, any of the big things, like, you are bound from it. I did that with that same client, it was, I don't know, 20 years and everything. And I said, okay, you're bound for the next, I think it was 60 days. You are not allowed to do anything with the information you're about to receive. And she said, okay. And I said, what's the truth? What do you need to do? Her whole body settled into the chair. She went, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, there you go. Now go to work.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Once she was able to give herself permission to not have to worry about all that, but, I took all that off the table. And here's the interesting thing, is that typically when somebody does get the truth in a comfortable container like that, they actually want to move forward quicker than I have now allowed them to do, because they're bound. So they're like, can we do something? Like within 2 weeks, they're already like, oh, I want it now. Right. And so, but it's a great trick. The other thing is, it's a listening exercise, not a thinking exercise. If I ask somebody, what is the truth? I said, look, as soon as you think the question to yourself, you will hear the answer if you're not making noise. If the mind is not making noise, like the signal to noise ratio in radio, we need a whole lot of signal and very little noise. And the mind creates a lot of noise. And that's how it locks you out of the truth, because it's just too scared.
Yeah, totally fucking true. How about this? When I hear people that don't like to commit to things, because they beat themselves up when they don't do it or they don't get the result that they want. And if they, let's just say they pause or they forget, they kick the shit out of themselves instead of giving themselves grace and saying, this is part of the deal, I need to be kind to myself. What's your viewpoint about professionals giving themselves grace when they've fucked up on something or when they've, just haven't done the thing that they're supposed to be doing so that they can get back onto, your plan is fantastic. Your plan is like solid. For whatever reason you got off of that, get back on, move forward. What's your feeling about having, or them having grace for themselves? They have grace for everybody else, but normally it's not for themselves. So they beat the shit out of them and then they lose their confidence and, you start spiraling down that.
Right. And imagine what that does to your frequency. Right.
Horrible.
So what happens, and then it spirals downward and gets worse, right? And so some of the hardest work that I do in my organization and when I work with an individual or a team or whatever is, and especially with women, I said, look, this is going to be the hardest thing I'm going to train you in letting yourself off the hook.
Yes.
And so I'm going to give a couple of tools right now for anybody listening because this is powerful shit right here. So the first thing is I have some very bad news for you listening. You're not going to like this at all. You just aren't so fucking special that you deserve more punishment than anyone else.
My God. Hold on. Say that again. That was fucking brilliant.
You are not so fucking special that you deserve more self-abuse, negative self-talk, than anybody else. You are in a toxic and dysfunctional relationship with you when you do this. And so if you have somebody talking shit to you in your life, it's because you have somebody talking shit to you in your mind. Your outer reality is a reflection of your inner experience, and you are just not that special that you deserve more punishment than everybody else, that you deserve more punishment than you're willing to give other people. So here's the tool. And this is all very Don Miguel Ruiz, right? Like, the four agreements, but, a role model mindset. Okay. If you would not say it to your kid, to your spouse, to your best friend, you do not get to say it to you ever. Full stop. Ever. It's that simple. Right? Because look, it's basic, just massive egomaniac construct. Right? And I'll tell people that are shitting on themselves, stop being such a fucking egomaniac. And they look at me like I have 9 heads, because when we say egomaniac, we think God's greatest gift to everything. It's like, look. Right. Exactly. I'm a big piece of shit is the same ego, same size, other end of the spectrum, right? So stop being such a fucking egomaniac that you deserve so much punishment and you're just not as good as all the... It's like, don't fucking waste my time with this shit. Like, really, stop it.
God.
I mean, it's real simple. It's like the stop it therapy with Bob Newhart. Have you ever seen that?
Yes.
Go onto YouTube, get the stop it therapy. It's genius.
One of the greatest bits ever. He's just like, stop it. Just stop it.
Stop it. Stop it or I'll bury you in a box. Yeah, so funny.
But it's so true. I mean, I used to tell my kids this. If you talk to your friends like you talk to yourself, you'd have no friends.
Right.
So
here's the thing. Your relationship to you is what's driving your relationship to everyone and everything. Think about it this way. If I don't super love me, why would I let anyone else? Why would I be willing to receive from someone else what I'm not willing to give? Because I don't deserve it or whatever, like be it a romantic partner or a friend or whatever. Like, if I don't love me, why would I give myself that success? Would I give that to somebody that I just have no respect for, that I have no care about, no love for? It's like, no, I don't want to see that person win. My ego's in the way. Well, yeah. Your relationship to everyone and everything in this world is derived from your relationship to you. And when you fix your relationship to you, fix is not the right word. When you adjust, when you tune your relationship to you, your whole world changes. Your frequency changes, your energy changes, everything changes.
And here's one of the things that I love about what you had said was attorneys are typically very confident and very secure in how they practice law, but they are not secure about how they bring in business. And that disconnect is exactly what you had said. They have self-love for their craft, but to bring in that business so that they can work their craft, they don't have that self-love. They constantly are second guessing themselves. they're making slow decisions, and
Right.
which is holding them back, right? And I find that when we get rid of that bullshit that's in their head when it comes to marketing and business development, they go, shit, this stuff isn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And you're like, yeah, you're overcomplicating it. And I feel, and tell me what your viewpoint is on this, if you agree or disagree, but my viewpoint is they're overcomplicating it because they're very smart. And also, if it's overcomplicated and they don't get it, well, it's overcomplicated. So, and I'm not in this, I'm not a marketer. I'm not a biz dev guy. So therefore I let myself off the hook of, oh, but I'm a great attorney. Where it's, why does it have to be an or statement? Why can't it be I'm a great attorney and I'm great at business development and marketing? Those two should go together. And I do find that they have very low self-esteem when it comes to charisma or marketing their stuff, because they don't have that. What you're saying is that self-love, but I'm saying self-love for marketing and business development.
I would say that they see it as separate. This is this and that is that. And when they recognize that part of being a good attorney is being a good marketer, well, now that's a skill set that you need. It's not talent. It's a skill, and skills can be learned, right? And it's not
totally,
you know, and I do think that when you get in, your brain will produce the reality that you tell it to. So if you tell yourself it's going to be hard, I don't know, it's difficult, it's complicated, you're already setting yourself up for failure, because your brain will say, oh, okay, and will prove that to you. You know, if you're talking shit about Monday on Sunday afternoon saying, oh, Monday suck, yeah, it's going to, because you just told your brain to produce it. That's just how the brain works. So the second you change your story, and look, again, I work in a very binary world in this regard, aligned or misaligned, in tune or out of tune. Is what you're saying in tune or out of tune with what you want in terms of business success? Saying, I suck at marketing, it's too complicated, I don't get it, is that aligned or misaligned? It's pretty obvious. It's misaligned. Well, then that's a story you're telling, and you have 100% control over the story that you're telling.
Yep.
And
100%.
You'll say, but I've proven it over time and time. No, all you've done is told your brain to go back in time and pick out the data points to prove the reality of your understanding. When you start saying, okay, well, what if that's not true? And I start picking out data points in my history that prove the antithesis, I absolutely will. You absolutely will. And so you have a choice. And everything you believe is a choice. Beliefs are choices that you have not taken responsibility for. And once you take responsibility for them, you can make whatever choice, select the belief that you want. And your opportunity, if not obligation, is to make the choice that aligns with success. Really oversimply stated, one of my teachers said to me, Chris, if you're going to tell a story, might as well be a good one.
But I think you're so right. I mean, one of the things that I've learned over the years working with attorneys is that our subconscious will self-sabotage us and we don't even realize it. And I'll give you an example of this. I was working with an attorney, this is years ago, and we were working on networking, how to become a master networker. And he kept coming back to me going, dude, I tried it and I just flopped and I flopped and I flopped. And I'm like, all of these different techniques, all these different tactics that we were working on, I'm like, really shit. I was tweaking this up, maybe try this, maybe try that. And finally I said, you know what? I need to go and go for myself and go to a networking event with him. We went. And as he was networking, my jaw dropped to the ground, because I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Because all the shit he was doing was the stuff he did before. And what I found was he was telling his subconscious, I'm not a good networker. I'm a shitty, I'll never be able. And his subconscious was making him right. Is exactly what you had said, is you will prove your brain right, because you're feeding your brain, I can't. So then your brain goes, you're right, I can't. So then it will, what I call sabotage the shit out of yourself. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he didn't even realize it. He was like, wait, I did? Oh my God, I had no idea. And as soon as we started clicking and he started like, oh my God, that worked and that worked,
Mhm.
Then he was changing the story in his own head,
Mhm.
which was an empowering one. And then he fucking took off and just was like, that's why like mindset is so fucking important when it comes to marketing and business development. Because
Mhm.
without it, we're bringing the wrong energy, like you had said,
Mhm.
and we're sabotaging the shit out of ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and this is really important for you who is doing the marketing with and for these people, because if like they're just going to make you work too hard, like really,
Right.
they're going to make you
Right.
work way too fucking hard. Like I don't know, I don't want to work. I tell clients that you're making me work too hard. Don't make me work. I don't want to work. I mean, we can get a lot better results if you don't make me work.
Like, just stop it, Chris.
I
Fuck.
mean, but look, so and ultimately, so there are things you can do. I'll give you tools. All about tools. That's hard for me. That's new for me.
Mm.
Oh, this is new for me. Yeah, cool, right? Things like that. I don't know. Okay, how about I wonder how? This physiologically changes what's happening in your brain. The neurotransmitters are operating differently. It creates a different feeling state. Feelings drive actions. Actions produce results. I'm just a systems hacker. Everything is
Yeah.
a system. Everything,
Oh my God.
right?
I
A
love it.
business, a team, reality today, right now, is the end result of a system. Any system can be hacked if you understand how that system works.
Yep. Totally true. Have you ever watched The Biggest Loser?
Was that the weight loss thing?
Yes, the weight
Yeah,
loss
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Do you remember Bob? Bob that was on. He was one of the trainers. He's the one who started it, went all the way through.
Okay.
You remind me of Bob because Bob is extremely confident individual, but understands this.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that Bob would always say is you cannot outwork a bad diet. So you can get on the treadmill and go, but if you are feeding your body bad stuff, you're never, ever going to be able to outwork that.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, can someone outwork a bad mindset?
It's very rare that I deal in absolutes. There are few. I would say it's probably gonna take more willpower than you have. So here's the thing. Let's take weight loss, okay? Let's say weight loss is the same as KPIs, market trends, sales history, physical world reality. Somebody says, okay, I want to get in shape and I want to be, lose weight or whatever. So what do they start doing? They start eating right and going to the gym. They start working at the physical end of the energetic spectrum. Earlier, I think I said that the physical is the slowest moving energy. Now, this is also not where the problem started. This is where the problem finished. And so you are working at the physical end of the energetic spectrum with the slowest moving energy, and you're swimming upstream against the flow of how reality unfolded, which takes willpower, which is an exhaustible resource. And this is why people struggle with this. KPIs, market trends, sales history, the same way. You start doing, okay, I'm going to do this tactical strategy, and that's all well and good. But if you don't also address from the other end of the energetic spectrum where it started, you're going to have a very hard time succeeding. And that's where mindset comes in. Right? Like the flow of reality is something, I'll oversimplify it, but it starts in the energetic and the ethereal, right? And then it gets into the cellular, into the DNA, it gets into the subconscious, into the conscious, into the physical. That's how it comes through. So if you start in the physical, go back, it's like, look, here's your workout regimen. And here's your KPI market trend regimen. I'll use the same tool for the same thing. Here's what you do. You spend 4 minutes a day, 5 days a week for the next 30 days in a visualization exercise of how good it feels to have that thing, to be in that space, to be at that weight. Get into the real minutia of it. How does it feel to bend over, tie your shoes? How does it feel to pick up your kid? When you're in that physical shape? How does it feel when you hit that sales number? How do you give that the same kind of energetic charge that you would give a memory, right? This is really weird, but it's like remembering something that hasn't happened yet. But you give it the same kind of intention, the same kind of charge, the same experiential sort of in your mind, and you can really feel it. This happens a lot faster because it changes your frequency. And so now you're working from both ends of the spectrum. But even if somebody says, I said, look, you can work out if you want to, but you're better off doing the visualization things 4 minutes a day, 5 days a week for the next 30 days than going to the gym. because you're going to create something that's sustainable. This is why weight loss, this is why success isn't always sustainable, because people haven't addressed the frequency.
Oh my God, yeah. So fucking brilliant, because that is why you tout how you can very quickly help people save a crap load of time and get to the results that they want in a faster amount of time. Even though when you said 4 minutes a day for 30 days, I'm like, what the fuck is that going to get me? Come on, Chris. You know, and you're like, this is a marathon. And also, as you're doing it, okay, this is my new reality. This is my new mindset. And it's working for me, not against me, because like you had said, what does success feel like? Not look like, feel like. What does it feel like? Fucking brilliant.
So here's what happens, because time is a construct that isn't really like, if we start talking, okay, I'm going to super nerd out a little bit. Okay. This is why I do my work in a quantum field. Okay.
Yeah.
This is why I don't deal with what other people deal with. This is why, you know, I'm just a different thing. But when we start operating in a quantum field, time starts to bend, because again, you know, Parkinson's law, a task will take as long as you think it will.
Right.
So if you think it's going to take 3 hours, it will. If you think it's going to take 6 hours, it will. And so we start bending time this way. But, you know, and if we get a little Eckhart Tolle here, there is no time. Now is the only time. So think of what you want as not something you need to make happen. It's something you need to phase into this reality. Go with me on this. How many radio stations are playing in your room that you're in right now? How many radio stations? Or
0.
what percentage, I should say, what percentage of radio stations are playing in your room right now?
0? I'm on this.
Think again. You're not listening to them, but what percentage of radio stations are playing in your room right now?
I don't know.
100. 100% of radio stations in your broadcast area are playing in your room right now.
Because of the frequency.
All I got to do is get a radio and tune it in, and you will discover that there is a radio station in your room right now. How many radio stations are playing in your room? What percentage?
Yeah, 100.
100% are playing in your room. I got it
right.
Yeah. So if you're on the frequency of 95.5, but you want to listen to 106.7, you need to change the frequency. Now, here's a trick question. How many realities are in your room right now? What percentage of all realities are in your room right now?
Yeah.
No. What percentage of all realities are in your room right now?
100%.
100. The double slit experiment shows that all things, all realities exist as waves of potential until you collapse it into form. All radio stations are playing in your room until you tune it in. You don't need to chase after the thing you want, the goals you have, the realities you're seeking. You need to phase them in, because they're in the fucking room right now. Particle physics. This is why I say, don't tell me what you can't do. This is why I don't like talking about my clients' case studies very much, because they sound ridiculous. Like, nobody wants to believe that in an elevator pitch. They're like, no fucking way.
Especially attorneys.
Right? Because they don't get it, because they're working it. They're just, and honestly, I actually don't work with law firms very often, and I only work with a very specific kind of attorney, because the way the law is set up as an industry and the way that attorneys are trained is diametrically opposed to what we're talking about. It's diametrically opposed to flow states. And so it's very difficult with attorneys in particular. So I have a very thick filter for attorneys. And it's not because they're a pain in the ass. It's just they're going to make me fucking work, right?
Of course. Yeah.
And a lot of times they're not even going to let me do it. And it's like, look, if you're not going to let me do this for you, then please don't hire me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fuck. Chris, this has been gold. I mean, I love your waves, like your frequency waves of potential, how you've got to tune in like a tuning fork to everybody is an egomaniac, but what are you actually feeding it? Like, what is it that you are believing? Because you're not that special to deserve all the fucking self-abuse that you're giving to yourself, that you aren't that unicorn are out there. Also, the fact that skills can be learned. This is a skill that's out there. Beliefs are choices. They're choices. So choose wisely. The fact that people are like, yeah, that's hard for me to do that, or I can't. Those are all just your own bullshit, your own limiting beliefs that are out there, and 4 minutes a day, 4 minutes a day. How does it feel? Not think, how do you think, but how does it feel to be the certain success that you want to be? Good God, there's so much freaking locks or tumblers. So make sure you got it fucking right, and are you in alignment with that? Like, good God, thank you. Thank you. Because this is so vital for huge success when it comes to marketing and business development. When it comes into how can you bring in the right clients at the right time with the right messaging, you've got to have that right mindset, and it's amazing. So thank you. I mean, thank you for sharing your wisdom. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. I mean, I love talking about this stuff, and, if there's somebody out there that thinks that it's going to take time, it really doesn't. Alan Watts said it really well. He says, people think it takes time to change. He says, no, it takes a decision.
Yeah.
It really does. And so.
And how fast can you make that decision? It's like instant.
Right. Yeah, it's like a light switch. Just turn it on, right? Hit the switch. It is.
Yeah. And for anybody who is listening to this that wants to take their mindset to a different level, take their confidence to a different level, but mostly to get the results that you want, reach out to Chris. We're going to put on all of his contact information and his book. Get his book on Amazon. But check it out. Have a conversation with Chris. You will not be disappointed. I mean, you can see right here. And the thing that I've also learned about Chris over the decade that I've known him is the fact that he's no BS. He won't sugarcoat it, but he's also not an asshole. He's not going to be like, you're just so stupid. Why are you even doing this, right? But he's going to tell his truth of what he perceives in you and also what he sees is your potential as well, because there's so many times we don't see our own, which is why we need coaches, because we've got those blind spots. But why not use somebody like Chris who I can rewire your system so that you get the results that you want and you get it in a very fast manner, and it's not woo-woo. It's not. Get over that whole fucking bullshit of it's real life stuff. It is based on science. But Chris, thank you for spending your time and giving us your wisdom. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you. And I also love having you in, my networking. It's always a pleasure getting together with you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Always good to spend time with you, Gary.
Yeah, back at you. All right. Well, until next time. Thanks, Chris.
That's it for today's episode of Unfuck Your Legal Marketing. If you got a spark of inspiration, learned something new, or at least got a good laugh, make sure to follow, rate, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and remember, the best marketing is the one that actually sounds like you. See you next time.